of the week. Are you getting dumber? This is from KR. 21 comments, 1786 stats. Stacker.News territory. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so Kevin KR asked everyone what the impact of LLMs are on their, I don't know, their, I guess not their, probably not their intelligence so much, but maybe their like effective intelligence. Um, and yeah, because there's some sense that we should be probably losing some abilities as we become more dependent on machines, as we've lost certain abilities as we become dependent on machines in the past, like calculators and GPS and stuff. So that's what he's wondering is, and especially because LLMs are more general tech and probably helpful in more domains, you would expect this effect to be larger and more general. Um, so he asked everyone how they feel about it, and he already sees some people like deferring to ChatGPT as if what it says is re removes their need to have to think about something and reason through it themselves. And so ChatGPT said it, so we can just assume it's true.
So he's saying that even in this post, they're using ChatGPT.
In this post,
Is that what you just
no,
said right now?
no, he's saying that people that he knows, he's heard them refer to, like in a debate about something in our conversation, that ChatGPT said this thing, so it's true. Let's take this as valid now and proceed
Gotcha.
to discuss.
Kind of like what we did when we found Google, like we used to say back in the day. Remember in the 2000s, like just ask Google. Remember?
We'd say Google it,
Yeah, I would say Google it. Yeah,
but then you'd be able to find like the primary source of the information. And
and then we found out that Google, you know, juiced the results, and then we stopped saying Google it.
well,
Remember that?
we still all say Google it. And
Mm,
I don't, they did, but they might have juiced ranking, but they're not
yeah,
modifying the content on other web pages.
but then we stopped believing in that. We stopped believing everything after a while, though. Remember that?
There was a period of time,
Yeah,
yeah, where I think we began distrusting the internet. We probably over trusted the internet, then we
yeah,
reduced our trust in the internet to an appropriate level because
yeah,
realizing it's just other humans and these humans aren't special humans just because they can write
yeah,
things on the internet.
yeah. Interesting. Coyote Cosmico said, "I'm afraid so." Um, and then he quotes KR, "I find myself prompting LMs with ever sloppier grammar and punctuation that I never would have used before, even incomplete sentences that don't make sense. You too, eh? I sometimes don't even prompt it now, but just copy paste in some text or screenshot, and it knows what I want. Or maybe I don't even know what I want. And I've outsourced that as well. Hey, robot, think about this for me. Do you ever do that, Kean?"
No, not really.
He said,
I don't use LLMs for thinking. I use them for as like an assistant on encoding, and I don't trust it at all. But I'd like to use them more this way. Obviously, I think a lot of smart people are using them this way for good reason. I just haven't gotten to the point where.
"Well, you're pretty smart, so I think it's for handicapped people."
No, I know people who are much smarter than me who use LLMs a lot. So
Oh, that like this though?
yeah,
Okay. And then he says, "My spelling has deteriorated since autocorrect spread everywhere. It's probably getting worse now because I don't even bother to spell correctly when using an LLM. I just speed mash the keyboard and it parses sloppy input just fine. Maybe there's a competitive edge to be found here for those who can avoid overusing these tools as more creative output trends towards this mean." Huh. What
yeah.
do you think about that?
I don't think there's likely a competitive edge for people not using them. I mean, maybe in a world where or in an environment where you can't reach the internet or you don't have access to an LLM, but likely these things are just going to become ubiquitous on, run locally on a device. You don't even need internet at some point. Maybe it'll be slightly less powerful. But I think most of the competitive edge now is finding ways to take advantage of them and in some sense become dependent on them. Maybe that'll flip around at some point, but like most people who got probably doing great at math I don't think require doing a lot of arithmetic, depending on the type of math, obviously. But maybe there is something to like still having like a very strong your own like neural network being good at uh, certain basic things and being able to do them well still. Maybe you can maybe on some level it improves abstract thinking, but I don't know.
And then he quotes Nicholas Carr's book, The Glass Cage. Have you read this before?
I have not, but I purchased this book as a result of this
What
comment.
is he talking about here, Keyan? He says the inscrutable. What the hell does that mean? The inscrutable technology or becomes an invisible technology. We would be wise to be concerned. At that point, the technology's assumptions and intentions have infiltrated our own desires and actions. We no longer know whether the software is aiding us or controlling us. We're behind the wheel, but we can't be sure who's driving.
Yeah,
What is he saying
it's
there?
more or less. So the title kind of implies what it's talking about, but the idea that technology is sort of imprisoning us inside of it, like we become so dependent, or we might as well be trapped in its use. Like we become too enmeshed with it. We can't really leave it, as much the sense that I get. But here specifically, he's talking about just our dependency on technology having an impact on who we are.
Wasn't
And
there
yeah,
wasn't there that guy from Google and he won a Nobel Prize, I think, and he predicted that AI was gonna lead to our demise. Or he's been on he's been on 60 Minutes, he's been on a lot of programs, and I think I saw it recently. I watched too much stuff.
oh, I think I know who you're talking about. I think he's a Cal professor
Yeah, 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 yeah.
who wrote a very popular
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me pull it up, Jamie. He
um,
damn it, I don't know
undergrad. I think it was
this.
an undergraduate textbook on AI that he wrote. It's
Um
very popular. And then I think he also wrote another. Was it him who also wrote Superintelligence? I don't. I'm not. It doesn't matter. Probably doesn't matter too much who he is, right?
yeah, I forget the guy. He won a Nobel Prize, but he was saying yeah, Jeffrey Hilton.
Okay.
He was the one that was saying that
I don't.
he thinks that AI is going to lead to them creating their own language,
Mhm.
and then it's not going to allow humans, if I remember this correctly, I probably, and somebody check this, and it's not going to allow people to understand what they're saying to each other. So AI is going to be able to talk to AI,
Mhm.
and it's not going to inform the humans of what it's doing.
Mhm.
And then at that point, it results in, I guess, what this is talking about.
Well, no, I don't think this book has anything to do with AI. So, but that's like there's like a section of thought about AI, about or a potential consequence of AI, especially super intelligent AI, where it becomes deceptive. And
Yeah, because yeah, yeah, that's what exactly it was saying. It like leads to a point where it no longer checks in with the human and what's the appropriate course of action to do, because the human's no longer intelligent enough to answer that question. You know what I mean? In order to get
yeah, or it
it,
just doesn't care. It just hasn't it hasn't properly modeled a sense of needing uh, to care about humans.
yeah, isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, yeah. This is kind of all the like P
He
doomer stuff.
he thinks it's going to happen in like 27, 28. He's predicting this in the next 24 months, 20, 24, 36 months.
I saw a few interviews with him, and it didn't seem like he was necessarily on the like high P doom
No,
side.
check it out. He's been doing a couple more. Showed up in my feed.
Okay, maybe he's
It's
gotten.
good. I mean, I don't. He's still holding Google stock, so there's that. He did admit to that he's, because the reporter did a good job and asked him like, "Where's your angle here? Like, who are you affiliated with? Who are you holding?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm still holding Google stock, but that's it. That's my only affiliation." So I was like, "Oh, that's good. At least he's admitting like where his affiliations are." So he's still holding Google stock. So, but he said he quit because he didn't like that Google was taking those military contracts.
Mm, yeah,
Anyways, good post.
yeah. Fun conversation topic. A lot of great answers in there because everyone is. We're also, one of the weird things about AI is we're all sort of using it in isolation. from each other, so it's kind of hard to observe how each other is using it.
Do you think it moves away from the chat box?
Uh, I think at some point it'll probably be mostly voice. Yeah.
I was showing my mom when I went down to Corpus, like the Chat GBT, the
Mm-hmm.
voice thing, and unfortunately it failed.
Oh no.
Yeah, it like failed dramatically. But she didn't, so like she's a boomer, right? And she's retired and stuff, but she she thought it was cool that she could talk to it because she thought it was an actual real human
Mm.
that she was talking to, but she didn't know what to talk to it about because it wouldn't talk to her about things. It would
Mm.
give her suggestions about what to talk about, but it wouldn't start the conversation with her. So she didn't know like.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was the first time I ever seen like somebody where I was kind of like, oh yeah, of course, because if somebody was visiting you, you would start the conversation, and then but it was kind of one of those things where like I don't know if you've seen those places where it's like how millennials use it, how boomers use it,
Mm-hmm.
how like Gen Z uses it, how like all these different age groups use it, and that was one where I was like, oh yeah, of course, my mom's not gonna like ask an AI agent for anything, but if the AI agent started talking to her, she would start talking to it back. And she did once I started asking questions. So I thought
Mm.
that was fascinating.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right. I don't think people recognize how different people use it.
Yeah.
Anyway.